DreAllDay.com.
Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Today I want to talk about knowing the game that you are in. And this applies to every game, every person who is listening to this, no matter what situation you're in right now. What I'm about to share applies to you. That's not the case with every video that I make, but with this one, this is the case. In life, there are no perfect scenarios. There's no situation you can put yourself in, accept, create, manifest that is going to be perfect. Every circumstance of life, every single one comes with a trade-off. There's nothing that's perfect. So anybody listening to me who thinks you have a perfect scenario right now is not perfect. It may be one that you're okay living with and happy with. That's fine. That's not the same as it being perfect. Perfect means there are no flaws, there are no drawbacks, there's no shit sandwich that you have to eat. I talked about this in episode 1663 of my Work on Your Game masterclass, that every situation in life requires the consumption of a shit sandwich. That means there's some type of shit that you have to deal with because you're in that circumstance. And in life, your decision is about not trying to avoid the shit sandwich, because that's impossible. It's deciding which flavor of shit sandwich you're okay with eating, because anything you do, you got to do something. All right. My background's in professional sports, and which is a great job. It's the best job I ever had. There's no job I've ever had or career I've been in that is better than being a professional athlete. There's no job better than that. I'm an entrepreneur now, and being an athlete was a better job than being an entrepreneur. It's easier, it's less work, and the ROI, given the amount of time you had to put in, the amount of effort you had to put in, athlete is way better, and it's way more exclusive. So you basically have more leverage because of what you do as an athlete, whereas anybody can be an entrepreneur. Not everybody can be a pro athlete. Athlete was a much better job. However, it still has trade-offs. The trade-off of being an athlete is your body is your entire business, which means you have to be very vigilant about what you're doing to and with your body, what you're putting in your body. You can't just do anything that you want to do when you're a pro athlete, because physically you got to be ready to go out and perform. And anytime your performance is coming up short, your entire career is on the line. Those are the trade-offs of being a pro athlete. Even though there's some great things on the other side of that trade-off, the trade-offs are it's a challenge. And you got like 100,000 people who all think they could or should take your job every minute that you have the job. That's the trade-off of being a pro athlete, amongst other things. I'm just giving you a few. Trade-off of being an entrepreneur is that you're in a risky business. You are inherently taking risks when you become an entrepreneur. Your next dollar is not guaranteed. You might have it under contract, still doesn't mean a guarantee. Any of you ever done business and you had a contract with somebody and they couldn't pay? Are you going to take them to court to get the money? Or if they ain't got no money, what's the point of suing them? So just because you got contracts doesn't guarantee you're going to make money. So being in business, one of the inherent trade-offs is that you're in a risky line of work. Just by nature of the work, it's risk involved in it. That's one of the trade-offs. If you are a single person, one of the trade-offs is you may not feel like you have a deep relationship with any one individual person. You might be going from one person to the next, and back and forth. You never feel like you really get as deep as you could with any one individual person, because you haven't committed to a relationship and you haven't got somebody to, at the same time, commit to you. Whereas when you're in a relationship, you might be looking around like, damn, I could probably do that, I could do that, I could do that, and I could have fun over here and fun over there. But the trade-off of being in a relationship is that, well, in most relationships, so not in most relationships, that you're expected to be monogamous and with that one person. Let's just say in Western society, that's generally how it goes. Point is, everything has a trade-off. I'm just giving you examples. And what I really want you to understand here, and the purpose of this video, is you need to find out what are the trade-offs of the game that you are in. You need to know what those trade-offs are, and then you just need to make a decision if you are okay with those trade-offs being what they are. That's it. You just got to find out what they are. So whatever game you're in, you should know what the trade-offs are. So whatever you do for a living right now, if I asked you what are the trade-offs of this business that you're in, or this game that you're in, or this line of work, or this lifestyle that you have chosen, what are the trade-offs of it? You should know. You should know the answer to the question. You should be able to articulate and say, well, you know, one of the trade-offs of this is this, and this. Like, I live in a condominium, high-rise building. I've lived in these buildings for years now. I've always lived in buildings like this most of the time. one of the trade-offs of living in a building like this is you have to deal with the management, whoever is in charge of running the building. And if the management is not good, then you're going to have problems because you're going to have to always deal with them in some way because they're the ones who are in charge of doing stuff and fixing stuff and handling stuff if there's some challenge. Another challenge of living in a building like this is that you never know who your neighbors are going to be. To the left, to the right, above you, but below you. And if one of them is out of order, then you're going to have to deal with that person. And if they're making too much noise or they're having parties or they're, whatever it is that bothers you, you got to deal with that because they're right there next to you. As opposed to if you're in a house and there's a lot of space between you and whoever the neighbor is. So that's one of the trade-offs of living in a place like this. But one of the benefits is if something goes wrong, you don't have to fix it all the time, depending on how your situation is. If you're renting, somebody else has to fix it, and you don't have to fix it. You just make a phone call, and they fix all your problems. So that's one of the benefits, I guess you could say. But one of the trade-offs is you got to deal with the people, and they're right on top of you at all times. So there's trade-offs to everything. Your job is, again, to know what the trade-off is and just decide where are you okay making the trade-off. And if you're not okay making the trade-offs of your particular space, then that means you need to get out of that space and go find a space where you are okay with it, with the understanding that there's nowhere you're going to go where there won't be one. As long as you understand that and you accept that, or wherever you go, there's going to be something that you got to trade off in exchange for the positives that you're getting, then you're good and you can make your decisions based off that. Just make sure you know, and it is your job. It's your professional and not even professional, because this can be stuff that's life stuff too. It doesn't have to be work related. It is your adult responsibility to know what the trade-offs are of any lifestyle or circumstance or situation which you have or are choosing. With all that said, make sure you are in my text community. That number's down below in the description. Also, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where I do all my coaching. If you would like to have me as your direct coach, our program is based around mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. But really, I help people with anything and everything you have heard me talk about in these videos or anywhere else you've heard me talk. Now, one of my key skills is insight. My ability to discern the real challenge that a person has was maybe different than what you think your challenge is, and helping you with the real problem as opposed to, again, the surface level problem. That's why I coach people on. That's why I do what I do. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can see more about what we're doing. You can schedule a time to get on a call with us. We can find out where you're at and if we can help you. Again, that's at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all